Number 14, USA. The Luca Walker. Number 15, Variolo.
Resultaten success check hospitals over check space
Everybody clear the track, please. Foreigners getting ready. One foreigner is getting ready. Start and welcome as players. Lose the distance and repress everybody. Clear the track, please. And track is clear for a forerunner. Trans Brino. A Bobsleigh, Bob and track.
Welcome back to Sigulda in Latvia as we get ready for the final action of this pre-Christmas weekend. here in Latvia. It is the second race of the two-man World Cup weekend here. It is a double two-man weekend always in Latvia. There's just not quite enough room to squeeze a four-man down. It has been done, but it's not to be advised. So first of our two heats, 18 sleds going into today's race. Couple who raced yesterday not here, among them Adam Baird of Great Britain, who's already in Winterberg, getting some training runs in for the event post-Christmas. So the start area is absolutely critical as ever. A short start. Francesco Friedrich and Alexander Schuller, with whom he races today, have the start record at 4.75. We got close to the start record yesterday, but not quite there. And through the early corners, very easy to wipe off speed. Down through the upper labyrinth. This is relatively straightforward, but corner 10 here feeds into 11, one of the key corners on the track. A good exit here defines your run through 12, and then 13, and whether or not you crash into 14, as several did yesterday. Straight down into 15, try and avoid taps and skids, and then uphill all the way to the line now, out of 16. Mistakes here absolutely murder your speed and cost you more time than you might imagine. So it's short and sharp. Francesco Friedrich, 2 races this season, 2 wins. He leads the World Cup standings from Johannes Lochner, with Brad Hall in third ahead of local boy Jacobs Kalender. Marcus Treichel with a great result in the two-man and a great result last weekend in the four-man as well. Really on excellent form in both disciplines. So yesterday there were 4 crashes in the race, 3 in the first heat and 1 in the second heat. None of them involved that man, Francesco Friedrich. But Mihai Tentea of Romania went over in the first heat, Kim Jin-su of Korea also. And that man there, Adam Amor, crashed in the first heat, and unlike Tentea and Kim, he did go in the second heat, but crashed again. So he'll be feeling a bit of pressure today. No pressure at all, I think, probably for Austria's Marcus Treichel, after a great run yesterday into the bronze medal position. His first two-man World Cup medal, following after his first four-man World Cup medal last weekend. Well, lots of brakeman changes right from the very start. Almost everybody taking the opportunity to give 2 brakemen a race here. And there are a couple of debutants in our field as well. First heat, race 3 of the IBSF men's two-man bobsleigh World Cup. We're in Sigulda in Latvia, and first off is China's Sun Kai-chi with Cheng Heng behind him. Yesterday, a PB in Sigulda for Sun. Finished in 13th place, was 17th in Altenburg. Gets away in 5:01. The start record is 4.75 from Francesco Friedrich and Alexander Schuller. They'll be close to that today. Got very close indeed to the start record in the women's bobsleigh, just 100th away. Not bad out of 11. This is the danger zone yesterday. Ooh, and he was quite late there, and again he was late, off 13 into 14, and late out of 14. Comes back up. And that happened yesterday to Frank Del Duca's sled. So Sun Kai-chi and Cheng Heng did not complete the run on their heads. Now, normally after a crash there is a 5-minute track hold, but I think because the sled has sort of made it almost all the way up the in-run, the reason it hasn't is it lost so much speed, obviously, upside down, that it hasn't quite made it through. So exit of 13, very late indeed, just about avoided rolling into 14, which is what happened to everybody yesterday. But then so late onto 14, he just can't haul it off, fully Robin Hooding the sled off, maximum steering articulation, not enough to save them, and a bumpy landing. Now, they did complete the run, both of the crew still in the sled. As it came out of 15, we saw this yesterday, sled flipped back onto its runners. Now, coach saw the crash, didn't see the recovery. So they do get a time, they can go again. You are allowed to change your brakeman, obviously you're not allowed to change your driver, otherwise it's not the driver. So they will be examined by the medical crew. Track will be examined by the track workers as well. And Sun Kai-chi there looking pretty battered. President of Latvia again on hand, as he so often is, comes every year to the races here. It's only about 35 minutes on the train, probably better part of an hour in a car from the capital city, Riga. And this is a big sport in a small country. Basketball, I gather, and ice hockey are the biggest sports in the country. But certainly, with the success of the Ducos brothers and Oskars Melbardis, Oskars Kibermanis, and the rest of the Latvian sliders, bobsleigh and skeleton are also enormously popular in the winter. There's lots of fans out. The snow has stopped, fortunately. Fairly consistent, if light, snow this morning. So getting ready for our second sled. Bruno Mijon in the red jacket with his back to us, Max Robert, and the French duo, coach France and Monaco. So this is Monaco's Boris Vain with Arthur Prévost. Arthur in the two-man yesterday as well. Afternoon to Sean Olsen, by the way. Just surprised by his better half Bonnie on BBC Radio 2 in the UK. Michael Ball's Sunday Love Songs. He got a call from a chap called Michael at the BBC, ostensibly to talk about the British bobsleigh programme. Turned out it was a love letter from his partner Bonnie. Absolutely priceless stuff. He was walking in the forest in Winterberg and got absolutely caught, and rightly so. So, Boris Vain, Arthur Prévost. Well, this is all part of the business. Focusing again after a delay in proceedings, either in training when it happens or in the race. You've still got to go out and absolutely take this sled by the scruff of the neck. 5:02 the getaway, only 100th slower than Sun Kai-chi. Everybody knows the dangers here. The problem with hard ice, fat runners, is that you have to do more steering perhaps than you might think. Certainly that's what Francesco Friedrich was saying yesterday. Now, he got down, wasn't the tidiest, but he got down. Not everybody did. Corner 11, this sets you up for the trouble zone. 12, big looping right-hander at 13, comes off okay. Clean out of 14, that's more like it. 1500's up, and of course now, he will accelerate away from Sun Kai-chi, because Sun had crashed by this stage. Best speed for Big Boris across the line, 50.0. Now then, because this is one of those weekends, he did a 50.24 in his first heat yesterday. And the second heat, I have also got written down on a piece of paper, 50.34. So not quite as quick on that run as they were yesterday, and I wonder whether that means that there's not been quite as much of a spritz on the track, or whether maybe it's just that the conditions aren't quite as good, or he made more of a mistake, and without reviewing the video, I can't tell you. But not quite as quick. I beg your pardon, no, quicker than both runs yesterday. So 50.24 to 50.36, today a 50.0. So a little quicker from Boris. And again, that's repetition, more runs down the track, more experience, you tend to get better. Next up, Andre Torria with Rares Tinker. And they ended up as the better placed of the Romanian sleds yesterday. 21st, missed the cut in Altenburg on his World Cup, on their World Cup debut, and in fact both of their World Cup debuts, I was right the first time. Finished 14th yesterday, so that was a personal best. Field of 18 sleds, and he will absolutely be trying to, at very least, emulate what he did yesterday. New to the World Cup this season, one of two new Romanian athletes that we saw driving in the two-man field in Altenburg. Not a bad start, 5:13. Raced here once before in Europe Cup racing, the junior circuit in 2023. So he's probably got a couple of dozen runs down the track, if that. Maybe actually sub-20. Not a bad looking run so far. Tries not to stop the drift to the left, because you need to be on the left into 15. Clean enough into 16, good entry into 16. Transponder's not working, so Timo for a Swiss timing will be all over that like a rash. 50.56. All right, so half a second behind Boris Vain, 2 seconds ahead of Sun Kai-chi. Great to see a small but proud bobsledding nation like Romania bringing in new young drivers. Mihai Tentea has been playing this furrow on his own for a number of years. He's still only 25, hardly ancient, but to have younger guys in, or less experienced guys, Andrea Torrea is actually 26, so a year older. All right, Adam Amor, this is no time for nerves. With Benedikt Hertel, he won race 1 last year. With his brother Isaac, he won race 2 yesterday. With Isaac, he crashed twice yesterday. 12, 13, 14, it's the bogey for everybody. 484, are they jogging off? They are absolutely not. Only 900ths off the all-time start record. Little tap into corner 4, otherwise looking pretty clean through the labyrinth. 10 into 11. Exit 11 is key here. Tap into 12, comes nicely onto 12. Okay, onto 13, late on 13, in trouble and gone. Exactly the same as yesterday. Head took a hit, visor came off, he's tucked his head back under the cowl. And a reminder again, if such were needed here in Sigulda, that this is not messing about. Benedikt Hertel bails out. He's going to try and stop the sled. Now, not sure if he actually got across the line in the sled or not. That will be for the jury to decide. And I'm sure Adam would like to try and go again and get this right. He's okay, thumbs up there. So, looping out of 12 into 13, brought it down early, pressure sent him back up. Watch on the exit, he's being pushed back up, and it's not coming back from there. They roll into 14. Same as yesterday in both heats. And it's that, I've got it, I've got it, I've got it, I haven't got it. Watch as he tucks his head in here, trying to bury himself under the cowl. Big Benedikt Hertel in the back, trying to hang out, or hang back inside the sled, pull himself back in. They've all been there. They have all been there. And they all know what it's like. Well, there was a thumbs up from Adam Amor. And again, I'm sure if he can, and it will probably come down to a conversation between him and Bundestrainer René Spies, I'm sure he will want to go again and not leave Sigulda with 3 racing crashes as his last memory of it. Last year was a very different experience of Sigulda for Adam Amor. Gold in both races, fully loaded fields, all his teammates, everybody else was here. And yet this year, 13, 14. And we're not talking about massive, massive errors. We're talking about massive consequence to a tiny error. It is all fractional differences. Now, just as well that dog wasn't there during the women's race. There would have been an awful lot of bobsledders. Oh, come home with me for Christmas. What a sweet little thing. So, second delay. And again, this sort of does set nerves jangling a little bit, because it's not a rookie. You know, Adam Amor is a race winner, and here a race winner. He's an experienced slider, he's got great kit, he's got good ability. Hi, kids. I'll just hang on to my daddy here for a moment or two. That's sweet. All right, so next up, Patrick Baumgartner. And ironically, Patrick was next in the list behind Adam Amor yesterday in the first heat, so he had to wait 5 minutes after Adam's first crash yesterday. They'd already been delayed because Mihai Tentea, first off, crashed as well. So, 4 sleds, 50% crash rate in 13-14, which tells us probably a couple of things. A, the track has had a good spritz and is hard and fast like yesterday, and B, everybody's still on fat runners, because fat runners equals fast runners. And it does mean that if you're wrong, and it sort of backs up a bit, if you're wrong out of 10 into 11, then you're exiting 11 late, you hit into 12, that probably pushes you late onto 12, and so you come into the left-hander at 12 late, you come off it late, you're late onto 13, and you roll off 13 into 14, unless you really haul on it hard. So, let's see. Patrick Baumgartner, Rob Messier. 6th place in Altenburg, 8th place yesterday. It's been a good start to the season in the two-man for the Italian, 5:02. Yesterday, first heat, 5:02 as well. Taps in 2, taps into 4, 500s up on Boris Vain, our current leader. Ooh, little bump there. Third best speed. Okay, out of 11 late. Got to gather it up now. Out of 13 late. Looked okay, was okay. 100th back. Boris Vain had better speed and 1.3 kilometers an hour better speed. He's going to be behind at the line, 900s back, 50.09. Well, they're down and safe in second place, just 900s behind Boris Vain, but that was as late as you want to get off 13. You see, it's a hard take on onto 14, but at least it was the runners on the ice and not the cow. And into 15, again, big early height, right up by the woodwork. Controls it on the exit, though. Boris Vain leads from Patrick Baumgartner and Andre Turin. As you can see, Adam Amor and Benedikt Hertel have been given a time. Lee Chun-jan next up, 6th of our 18 sleds in race 3 of the IBSF two-man bobsleigh World Cup. Second race of the weekend here in Sigulda. He finished 6th in yesterday's two-man, 8th in Altenburg. 2 sixth-place finishes, February 2023 and yesterday, his best results here and in the World Cup overall. 5:01, starts a whisker quicker. So that's as quick as Boris Vain, our current leader. Little tap in 4, still in the green, 0.03 of a second. Fourth best speed, so he'll drop into the red. Key now is if he gets the speed lower down. Out of 14, clean, 800's back. Van's still the fastest at the bottom of the track. He's not there. 1.2 k's back at a very sideways entry into 16. That was a troubled moment. 50.27. So gets it down in 3rd place. But that little tap out of 15 nudged the sled away, and then it started to snap back and got very sideways. The sled was going right, the track was going left. The entry to 16 was pretty vicious. Well, Lee Chun-jan and An Tai, his brakeman, who makes his World Cup debut. So slightly losing focus on that at the moment. And that's, yeah, over the brow, uphill into 16, crossed up, backed in like a MotoGP rider on the brakes. Has the same effect, slows the sled right down. So An Tai, the brakeman, still with the helmet on there, 23 years old. Has had one previous race, he was in the 4-man in Altenburg. That's your lot. So Marcus Treichel, well, what a day he had yesterday. First ever World Cup two-man medal. He had Sasha Stepan behind him. Sasha's at the back there. He's got Diane Nicholas Bardi behind him in his 5th two-man race. 100-meter sprinter. Get in, get down, 5 flat. Good start. Treichel with a bit between his teeth today, I'm sure. Don't think he'll have had problems sleeping last night. Silver medal, I should say. Bronze medal, rather. Third best speed, 400's in it. Racing Boris Vain of Monaco for the lead. Little late, but clean out of 14. Second best speed, down to 100. Vain the fastest at the bottom. Ooh, little skid out of 15. Nice into 16. Not enough to take the lead. Not. Oh, he does by 100th. Wow. Well, the speed was clearly not in the speed trap, but was coming. They started 100 faster, they finished 100 faster. Sasha Stepan yelling a lung out at the top. And Marcus Treichel and Diane Nicholas Bardi getting the fastest start so far. And they lead. 100th quicker than Boris Vain in the start. 100th ahead at the bottom. So again, indication it was a very good drive from big Boris Vain in the Monaco sled. Smile on his face, isn't there? So then to Timo Rona. Yesterday his first World Cup here. And he finished in 9th place. His better of 2 results this season. He was 10th in Altenburg. Behind him a rookie brakeman, Tim Annan. 2 Europe Cup 4-man races and a 4-man World Cup start for Tim Annan in Altenburg. Those are his only 3 bobsleigh races. So Tim Annan at just 20. 5:04 getaway. I beg your pardon, I'm completely wrong. So this is Cedric Follador. Getting ahead of myself. Cedric with Luca Rolli behind him. 7th place yesterday. And into the green ahead of Marcus Treichel. Nice looking first run from Cedric Follador. little double tap there. Little late. Comes out okay. Oh, long skid, and that'll rob him of speed. Went from 200s back, 100th up, 100th back. Speed more like 10 or 1500s behind at the line after that skid. 50.16. So same duos yesterday, Cedric Follador, Luca Rolli. Yesterday the first start was a 5:01, today a 5:04. Yesterday's first run a 49.84, today a 50.16. So not quite as fast at the start, not quite as fast down the run as they were in the first heat yesterday. Luca Rolli leaping in there. As we now get to Johannes Lochner, silver medalist yesterday. Hansi, 10 races here, 2 silvers in his first season and 2 gold medals here in the race in 2023. Second in Altenburg, second yesterday. And this is his new brakeman, 20-year-old Jörn Wenzel, making his World Cup debut. Brakeman previously for Alex Tschudai, the young son of the German sliding legend Harald Tschudai. 4.89, that's a good strong start. Tschudai has made one 4-man World Cup start with Christoph Hafer in Altenburg in February of this year. This is his 2-man debut with Hansi. Best speed so far, 2400ths ahead of Marcus Treichel. Out of 13, let's see. Nice into 14. Little skid, same as yesterday. Better speed than Treichel, another big skid. Not got these fast exits right yet, Hansi. 49.67. What did he do yesterday in the first heat? 49.43. That did look a bit more sideways. 4.89 getaway with Georg Fleischhauer yesterday, a 4.86, so only 300ths off for Jörn Wenzel, the young brakeman. But out of 14, see, he just grabs the little handful of steering, not quite enough to bring the tail back, not enough to avoid the tap on the wall. It was worse out of 15, late flop, broadside, crossed up, tapping the wall. Got it nicely onto 16. Very skiddy at the front, very skiddy at the front. Not an awful lot of control in these sleds. Now, I talked about Timo Rona a little earlier. So, sons of legends, Timo Rona, Tim Annan. 20-year-old Tim making his World Cup debut in the 2-man. For Timo, it's his 11th 2-man World Cup start. With retirement of Simon Friedli before the season got underway, Timo Rona now with a berth, full-time berth in the Swiss team. 10th and 9th so far this season in the 2-man encounters. 5.07 getaway for Rona. Behind Johannes Lochner, our current leader at the start. That gap has grown. 7th best speed. He's not going to shrink it, is he? A little late off 11. Watch out in 13. Gets it just about into 14. Carries lots of late runner pressure. Big skid up to 15. Taps the wall again from 16. Only raced on this track a couple of times now, so not the most experienced here in Sigulda, and like everywhere else, it takes repetition to learn it. 2 Europe Cup weekends, and this weekend. So again, in the standard World Cup weekend, 6 training runs and 4 competition runs if you make the cut in both races, and that's spread across 2 and 4 man. Here in Sigulda, it's all 2 man. But you're looking at 10 competition runs, so he's probably got 30 odd trips down the track in his life. Some of the drivers in the field have done 8 or 10 World Cups races on this track. Hansi Lochner leads from Marcus Treichel and Boris Vain. Patrick Baumgartner in 4th, just ahead of Cedric Follador, and Lee Chun-jan rounds out the top half dozen. Jakob's calendar of Latvia, with Arnis Bebris joining him on the back of the sled. Yesterday he had the veteran behind him, Mats Miknes, in his 170th World Cup race. So they're giving the old boy a day off. 4.97 getaway for Calendar and Bebris. Started 4.89 with the beast Mats Miknes behind him yesterday. Wow. Big shoes to fill, literally as well as metaphorically. 800s behind at the start though, 2600s away, only the 9th best speed. Latvians didn't have great speed high up yesterday, found a bit more lower down. Oh, can't keep it off the wall into 15. Across the line, 7th place. 100th ahead of Timo Rona. We saw the face of Damen Streiskens in the crowd. Wasn't overjoyed to see that. Latvians always want to do well on their home track. That's not great from Jakob's calendar. All the way down the wall, out of 14, just dragging speed out of the sled that it could ill afford to lose. So next up, Francesco Friedrich, winner in Altenburg, winner here in race 1, and a former multiple winner on this track with Alexander Schuller behind him. 8 two-man wins here so far for Francesco Friedrich. And the records keep tumbling. Looking for his 50th two-man World Cup gold medal. And with a 4.89 start, just a whisker slower or tied with Johannes Lochner. Fastest start of the competition, 4.84, Adam Amor and Benedikt Hertel, but they won't be a factor in the race. Second best speed, tiny margins over Hansi, little late in 13. Cleaner down into 15, and this is where the speed will come. He should be back in green numbers. It's a long way to the line. There's not the speed there. Across the line, 800's back. Well, in the first heat yesterday, he had a major advantage over Johannes Lochner, 0.3 of a second. Today is a different day, and Johannes Lochner is 800s in front. And between these two, that's close to a dead heat. Little wave on to 11. Taps in 12. Has to work maybe a little harder than he would have liked to in 13 into 14. Not a bad entry into 14, but a little harder and less fluid than we're used to seeing from this man. He doesn't always win here. Hansi has beaten him in a straight fight twice in the 22-23 season. Greg Cackett at the front of the sled, not in the back, because Taylor Lawrence is at the back. Big T, Taylor Lawrence, who was in the two-man in Altenburg with Brad Hall, steps up here. Greg was in yesterday, they finished fourth. They finished fourth in Altenburg. Is there a chance of a medal here for Brad Hall? He's been 2 times a silver medalist on this track. 4.90, right in there swinging with the 2 Germans. .300's up. He can drive this sled. He can drive this track. Brad Hall has the ability, but only the 5th best speed. Lochner was quickest all the way down, so he's going to lose ground to Hansi. Until here, if he's clean, and he is, cleaner than Lochner anyway, only 200s back, 3rd best speed. How close is this going to be? Don't forget, 1st to 2nd is currently 800s, and at the line, 500s back. I think Taylor Lawrence probably sat up a little too high there as well. Little too early, might have cost him an extra 100th. Brad Hall, 2nd place in the first heat. Found a furry friend. Out of 14, just a tiny little late steer. Just that little shimmy with the hands, a little runner check to stop the slide. Drifts over left, that's where you want to be onto 15. Big early height in 16, trying to let the sled have its head. Fight the sled as little as possible.
More run than Christmas time. Let's go. I cannot wait to go home.
Taylor wants to get home to his new wife. So, entertaining top 3 covered by 800s. Now, what about Frank Del Duca? Charles Volker on the back of the sled with Frank today. Yesterday was Carsten Vissering making his 2-man World Cup debut. '14th in Altenburg, 11th yesterday, Frank Del Duca. Be watching 13-14 with interest, and so will the coaches. 4.91, what a great start from the American duo. 200s off the leaders, 100th behind Brad Hall. The sled looks good, just 500s back. Nice drive so far from Frank Del Duca. Out of 10 into 11. 9th best speed. Not sure the track is quite as quick as it was at the beginning of the run. Little late in 13, he's gone. Oh, he hasn't. Whoa, how did he survive that? I know that in the replay, Chuck Bogo will be winding back that reverse angle. Across the line, 6th place, 50.09. Tied with Patrick Baumgartner. 900s behind 5th place Boris Vain, 800s behind 4th place Marcus Treichel. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then everybody congregating in 4 to 10. Late out of 13, let's see the reverse angle. There we go. Oh, holy moly. I think maybe Frankie knows how close they got there. Not sure Charles Volker in the back seat is aware. I bet he felt it all going light, though. Same as the first heat yesterday, playing with fire. I said earlier he went over, he didn't go over, did he? Mattia Variola with Fabio Batti, same duo in the Italian with Fabio Batti back with him. It was Riccardo Ragazzi yesterday making his 2-man debut. Fabio pushed in the 2-man and the 4-man in Altenburg. So only a single race this weekend. That's positive. Christmas break started early. 16th in Altenburg, 15th here yesterday. 5:02 the start. Again, that's a decent top 10 start. Right in the frame with the likes of Boris Vain, Patrick Baumgartner, Cedric Follador, Marcus Treichel. So he'll be aiming to be ahead of that group from 4th on down. But off the 10th best start. Oh, he's in trouble here. Very late off 11. Just about got it off 13. Not a tidy run at all from Mattia Variola. 50.82 is the downtime, and that leaves him at the tail of the field almost. Only the 2 sleds that went over, Sun Kai-chi and Adam Amour, are behind him. That's a little bit of a replay of yesterday for Mattia Variola. Not a tidy run at all. Early height in 11, checks that, but then gets off late. Look at this. There's the exit of 11. And then out of 14, hauling it off there again. You watch the runners, you saw the big steer. And here, trying not to steer on the straight, but skidding and tapping instead. Little shimmy of the runner check that you see so many drivers do. Might have saved it, might not have. Only one way to find out, and that's to try it. Lochner, Hall, Friedrich, the top 3. And let's see now where we get to with our final 3 sleds. Yesterday, Kim Jin-su crashed in the first heat with his brakeman behind him, Kim Hyung-gun. Today, it is a new boy, Kim Sun-wook. Just 22 years old and only 6 NAC races and an invitational race in Korea under his belt. This is his first in the big time. Little tap from Kim there in 2. And into 4. I'm sure the coaches will be as nervous as the crew. 7th best speed, nicely onto 11, not too late off. Got to get a good exit off 13, not bad at all. He's past the danger point, just 2300s back, top 10 speed. This could be a top 6 run, maybe not now. Big skid into 16. Not top 6 at the line, 9th place. It all went away below 14, but got it down. Well, they didn't have a second run yesterday. Not sure whether that was Kim Jin-su, the driver's choice, or whether that was coach's call. Late there, off 14. He trusted it rather more than maybe he might have done. Might need to think about having a bit more of an early steer in 14, and out of 15 all the way down the wall the wrong side into 16. It's still a work in progress, his knowledge of this track, but the new boy gets down and doesn't get parked on his head. Ladislav Villa making his first 2-man start of the season behind Mate Behunek. Was down to start in Altenburg, didn't, but does here. Michael Dobesh has done both of the 2-man races so far this season. And Mate, 20th in Altenburg, 16th yesterday, with all the other stuff that was happening. .506 the getaway. Yesterday started 5:02 with Michael Dobesh. .15th at the start. 13th best speed in 11. Little loose in 11 and into 12. Late in 13. Looks like he's got it down okay. Out of 14, skids and taps. Behind Sun Kai-chi at the moment, but should get ahead of him. 11th best speed. And at the line, 14th place ahead of Mattia Variola. So all of those skids from Variola at the bottom of the run definitely cost him. Two tenths up on Mattia Variola. Just came a little late. Actually not too bad out of 11. Clattered the wall in 12 and clean enough out of 14. And then sled just drifting away from him. So Mate on the left and Ladislav on the right there. He's a big man, Ladislav here. And our final sled in this first of two heats, Mihai Tentea of Romania with Mihai Pacianu. There's his dad, Julian, with his back to us, the coach. And Mihai Pacianu had a long career in World Cup skeleton before gradually becoming a bobsled brakeman. It's his 5th two-man World Cup start. Only a 6th two-man race of all. And in fact, Mihai's last race on the back handles was here in February. 5:08 getaway. That's not a bad start at all for the Romanian duo. First man out of the shed yesterday, and he was the first man over in 13. Looking neat so far. 13th best speed, so trying to pull himself up from a 17th place start. Out of 13, neatly, and into 14. Not a bad looking exit. 10th best speed. Tidy run from Mihai Tentea. Hits the wall going into 16. 7th best speed. And across the line, 13th place finish. And that is what you want, is to put yesterday firmly in the rear-view mirror. So Mihai Tentea, 200s behind 12th place Timo Rona, 300s behind 11th place local boy Jakobs Kelander, and 800s out of the top 10. A whisker late, if you're being picky, and we are, out of 14. Mihai Pacianu watching the replay there. It wasn't that close. It was okay, it was okay. All right, so another day and a reset of our leading group. Johannes Lochner leads with his rookie brakeman, Jörn Wenzel. He leads by 500ths over Brad Hall, with Francesco Friedrich, yesterday's winner, in 3rd position, 800ths back. And that's probably where the medals will come from. Next closest, Marcus Treichel, 3200ths back. And everybody with the same problem. Fat runners, hard ice, can't control the front. Hansi did the best job, narrowly ahead of Brad Hall and Francesco Friedrich, and then Marcus Treichel, Boris Vain, Patrick Baumgartner and Frank Del Duca tied, and then Cedric Follador, then a tiny break back to Kim and Lee and Kalender and Rona and Tentea, and then another little gap back to the second Romanian sled, Terea, ahead of Behunek and Variola. And whether we see Sun or not remains to be seen. I think we may see Adam Amour again. We'll find out when we go for the final run of the year. 15:30 local, 14:30 CET, 13:30 Greenwich Mean Time, 8:30 Eastern, and that will be in 40 minutes from now.